Okay, so we're gonna split this, and I'm gonna make some wedges in order to split. And I'm kind of looking down at, and I want to split, I think, on this plane. So I want to split where it's longest. This type of tree tends to have limbs or stems that will sprout out on each side. So I want to split down that middle like so. So I'm going to get a starter cut going and then make some wedges, and then we're going to try to split it down the middle. Okay, so I've got the wedges here. I just want to tap these in and then replace, kind of leapfrog over. Hopefully it'll let me split enough around these knots. We'll see. That one hit. Now we'll put this one in here. Split out. Try a big one. Let's get a nice wide split here. That's good. It's coming apart nicely. Now we're getting off a little bit, but we're getting nice even halves. But we'll rectify that. So what we'll have to do here is we'll have to start another line. Here, we won't get two even halves, but that's okay. That'll be just fine. Okay, so I basically have this split the way I want it, and I've spray painted the ends, so this is going to sit for a couple of months and dry out. And I spray painted the ends to keep it from cracking, splitting some more. Sorry if that's out of focus. And I just did both ends. So I'm going to leave this and let it dry a little bit before I bring it in the house. So I'm going to try and make a bow from this piece of elm that I harvested and I split. And it's got some impurities in it. But I'm making this for my daughter, so it's just a practice bow. And I want it more or less the same dimensions as this bow, which is my first ever bow. There's a lot of string follow to it, you know, it's my first, but it still shoots. She can shoot it. It's probably about 25 to 30 pounds of pull on this. It's made of hickory. So what I want to do is I'm trying to get the dimensions via a string. One way to do that is I can make sure the string kind of matches it. It's the same length. And fold it in half. What I'm trying to do is figure out the middle. And so on this, it's this stock. It's about the same length. And that's okay. That it's not exact. Because we're roughing this. And then what I want to do is split it down the middle. Start from one end. And find roughly the middle, plus a hand grip. And since she's smaller than me, I don't mind if it's my hand grip. So I'm wondering where my pen went. And then I just want to make marker roughly where the middle is. I'd love to use stone tools for this, but I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna find the marker, and I'm just gonna kind of start and kind of eyeball, you know, where the handle will be and where I'll start to taper and flare stuff off. Now I've already started to work one in here, which is roughly my thumbnail length across. And I'm going to do the same thing on this end, and I've already kind of marked it out, which is roughly my thumbnail length across. And we'll just adjust as we take it off. We're not using machine tools, and again, if I was using primitive tools, then, you know, again, it's going to be that much more organic. But this is where I want to start taking off material. Okay, and what I like to do when I do that is I'm taking my my chopper here, and it could be a stone tool. Get some sweat off my face here. I'm a heavy sweater. What I want to do, and again, I don't want my chopper on stone or concrete, anything like that. Nice wood backdrop, right? And what I want to do is I just want to start removing material. Now most of you real bowyers out there are going to see that there are some limbs or stems in here, and these are impurities in the bend of the bow, which goes into the back. We're going to work around that. I know this is a temporary bow. This is not meant to be a war bow. This is not meant to be anything that's going to be other than something that I'm making for my daughter to be able to shoot, and we can make that. So if this was something that meant to be, you know, taking down buffalo and enemies with chainmail, then yeah, we'd obviously choose a better piece of wood. So at any rate, we're going to keep working and just going to taper this down. Like so. A little bit. And I like to leave a little bit because we can abrade it. Like that. And then I get the other side and I place it to it because I'm right-handed. And I'm just going to taper this down. So we get it roughly to the edges. We're not trying to be precise because we're not machining this. So we're going to braid, and we can use a rasp, and we can skate it on the concrete to get it more precise. But as you can see on this end, I did the same thing, and on this end, I'm working the same thing. So what I want to continue to do is rough it out with my hand axe here, my blade here, and shape it into a semblance of a bow. But we found the middle point, which is here, and this is where it's going to flare out, or this is where this is going to start to shape into a handle. Alright, so this is coming along fairly well. I'm taking my time, and again, this is center line here and hand hold, so I'm working from there. And I'm going to be working the other way, back this way. We want the thickness in the middle, and we want the limbs to be fairly thin and tapered, both in width and in girth. So I've got my choppers here, and I've got two different sizes. And what I like to do is I'm going to take off a lot of meat here, and there's a bend, there's a recurve, which is what we want. But I have to be careful that I don't cut too much off of it. So I have to be very gentle, but I need to get in to the meat. So what I like to do is I like to kind of hold it and then take my chopper here. If this was a stone tool, it would be the same way, right? So I take this, find an angle, and just kind of chop into it. And I can look down the line of sight from my angle to make sure I'm not taking off too much stock. And again, I'm just hitting the angles. And then when I get down low and I'm going to hit the ground, at least I can hit the block here and not ruin my blade. Okay. So as I'm working this, I'm just working down the line of sight. And it's just the line of sight of this.